Scissor. That right there can drive a sane man berserk. Not to worry, Mr. H said the Izzo's back to Wizard. Boom, classic. Classic Kanye West. Hello, America. Hello, world. Hello, you. It is your new best friend, Cashmere, California. And this is the Pod is Good podcast, aka the Notorious PIG, episode 58. Pod is good, and all the time. If you know, you know. If you don't, you'll learn. Today, have you ever sat back listening to the songs on the radio, listening to albums, favorite artists that you love, people that soundtrack your life when you go back and listen to music from when you were in high school, or music when you were in college, or music when you got married, and wondered, how did they come up with this? How did Stevie Wonder write this? How did Jay-Z come up with that? Right? Have you ever sat and thought that? Well, today I got one of my close friends, a singer, a songwriter, a great guy, like all the way around, like loves to give back to the kids and build up the community, like amazing dude, right? Man of God. I got him here with me today so we can explore the art of songwriting, the art of taking what's up here, somehow putting it on paper, and then creating a masterpiece from it. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get it going. What is good, family? Please welcome my friend Haskel Jackson to the studio. How you doing, my guy?
Cashmere, what's good, dog?
What's
I'm
good,
excited
man?
to be on your show, man.
Yo, man,
I'm
I'm
super proud of what you're doing, Doc. It's fresh.
I appreciate it. I appreciate you. I'm just happy to see you smile on the other side, man, because I know what's to come in this episode. you know, we we've had they don't know, they'll find out, but we've had a
Yeah,
storied history. You know what I'm saying? We've been around each other. We've been in
yeah,
some
man.
studios, we've been in performances, and so
Absolutely.
I already know this is gonna be a good conversation. I already
It's
know.
it's going down.
There you go. So for the people that don't know, though they should, but for the people that don't know, can you give them a little bit of background of who you are?
Yeah, man. And the short end of it, man, I'm a regular guy, but I've done some pretty irregular things,
Hmm.
if that's a word. Some things in my career. I'm a music producer, born and raised in LA. Started my music career while I was in college, just as a student, not as a study.
Hmm.
Um, got into a singing group called Straight Vocals. It was four of us, and
Dope.
we just started singing. I didn't learn music. I just kind of hopped in and started this group called Straight Vocals. We did a cappella music, and then that ended up turning into full on production music. I got
Dope.
signed with Motown, had a major deal with Motown. We did this huge album called Motown Comes Home with
Hmm.
Stevie Wonder, Smokey Robinson, Temptations, Boys to Men,
Oh,
Ashani Wilson. Like it was some major people on that
wow.
album, and that was my start into the
That's
music
crazy.
industry, man.
That's crazy.
I was young, man, and I was able to travel the world singing, and
Wow.
it just kind of hit me like a whirlwind. And
Yeah.
I had to adapt. I had to adapt as I went,
Yeah.
and I took it serious, and I studied the craft to the point of being able to make money while doing what I love to do.
Mm,
30 years later, I'm still at it, still doing it, man. And
bro.
that's just a brief little intro,
Yeah.
man, to what I've been able to do.
No, that I'm pretty sure you talking about a whirlwind. I'm pretty sure you just hit everybody else with a whirlwind. They're like, oh, let me sit a little deeper in this seat. This is about to be one of them.
Yeah, man, been at it for a while.
I love it, man. I love it. So
Yeah.
so Haskell and I met. I think I was performing somewhere. I feel like I don't know where I was, but I was performing somewhere in Hollywood, right?
Yeah, yeah, you performing somewhere, and then the hip hop choir came along.
Yeah.
Hip hop choir came along. I forgot where you were performing though, man. I saw you. I don't know if it was at not the House of Blues. I can't remember, man. You was lighting it up wherever you were. You was lighting it up.
Yo, was that? You know, there was one time I performed at the Celebrity Center.
That's right.
Was that it?
It was at Celebrity Center, bro, in Hollywood. That
I'm
was my
embarrassed.
show. My show, Unsigned Artist.
I'm embarrassed. You should be too. You did a show at the Celebrity Center. You, we gonna leave the Celebrity Center alone. I don't need nobody coming at me.
You know what's interesting, man? That came up not too long ago about me doing it there,
Hmm.
and after because I did like maybe 5 or 6 shows there,
Hmm.
and I started feeling bad
Hmm.
because I was like, man, I drove a lot of people to this place, and I
Yes.
didn't fully know what it was going in,
Yeah.
but then after a while, people were telling me that they was pulling folks to the
Yeah.
side trying to get them in, and
Yeah.
then I did a little more research, and I was like, wow, that was on me.
Yeah.
Me and my business partner, we had a
Uh-huh.
lot of young people doing the show, and
Wow.
taking them there, man. And because they gave it to me they gave me
For
that venue
free.
for
I remember you told me that. So for anybody who doesn't know what the Celebrity Center is, this is basically the Scientology home nestled in the middle of Hollywood, California. This
yes,
is where they host, right.
yes,
This is where they host their biggest events, their star-studded events. This is where they have rooftop gatherings with Tom Cruise and their biggest stars to hopefully bring new people into the religion. And so I do remember when I first showed up, I didn't know what the Celebrity Center was, but
yeah,
I knew what Scientology was. And I remember in the beginning, and I'm pretty sure this is part of We'll Let You Do It for Free, they had like a video that played.
yes.
It was like a propaganda video.
They give you the venue, but
Yeah.
they want to do their intro to what that place is, and then they get out of the way.
Wow.
And the venue was dope. The sound was dope. They had a full on
Super dope.
engineer like backline.
Super dope. Lighting,
Man,
great. Great event,
yeah,
great venue.
it was hard to turn down, man. And then once I found out what it was, then I completely stopped.
Yeah.
But I felt bad sometime after
Yeah.
because I saw like in the industry a lot of times you're looking for opportunities
Right.
and you're looking for ways to. I know for me, I was always looking for ways to give artists outlet,
Yeah.
and there are not a lot of venues and folks that's just gonna give you
It's not.
something or anything
Right.
without something attached.
That's a fact.
And you know, we went in. I think a lot of people were blessed by it,
Mhm.
but at the same time, I don't know who got caught up in that, if
Yeah.
any.
Right.
You
You just
never
never
know.
know.
So I asked God. I said, God, I'm sorry. I apologize
Yeah.
for my ignorance
Yeah.
of driving people to a place for something of my purpose. I feel like
Mhm.
my purpose is to help young people
Yeah.
to a place that was unknown.
Yeah.
And that was my bad. And from that day, I made sure to do heavy research on background stuff
Yeah. Yeah.
before I go in or before I take a crowd of people. So that
I,
was a huge learning lesson for me, man.
yeah. Yeah. It was an interesting thing because I understood it like when I was there and I realized that it was part of the Church of Scientology. I was already kind of put back. You know, I'm in artist mode, right? Like I'm about to perform, great
Yeah,
opportunity. And then once I realized that, I was like, oh, and I kind of took a step back, but I
yeah,
did understand it from a bit because I think we talked either that night or later, um, and I remember you telling me that they gave it to you for free, and I was either doing other events at the time or had done events, so I understood the
yeah.
cost attached to an
The
event.
cost of that,
It's hard to give somebody a free opportunity like what you want when you already got to walk in it at a deficit. Like they
bro.
want, dude, now you got to charge at the door. Now you got to try to sell snacks and
Yeah,
alcohol. Like it
yeah,
gets it. So I understood it from a business standpoint, and I agree with you. Sometimes you just gotta, you slip, you're looking this way, and the enemy kind of hits you from this side.
yeah.
And, oh, you over there too.
Oh yeah, man. You got to own up. Like I owned up to it immediately because my heart was in a place. I ain't got no the ego where I'm like, I didn't do nothing wrong. Don't look at me. Like, no, no. We have a platform to be responsible, and we got to know what we're doing and how we're doing it and why. We got to know the purpose.
Yeah.
And even had I knew it beforehand fully,
Yeah.
I would have approached it even more different
Of course.
because there are ways to go in a place, and I've been there too, go in a place that's not built for you,
Yep.
but God will send you to a place
This is
to where
true.
He can send His message. Because,
This is true.
the world needs the message.
Right.
He's going to send us places that
Yep.
are not um, comp- um, completely in our corner. I guess I
True.
would say.
As they say, the light is shines brightest in the dark.
Come on.
And so
That's it, man.
sometimes we gotta go to dark places. It be like that. But like you said, it's just the awareness and knowing what you're dealing with. But hey, moving on, moving on. So anybody out there, the Celebrity Center is a part of Scientology, and I say it that way because
Yeah.
Scientology is very crafty that way, bro. Like I remember when I first moved to LA, the first time I ever walked down Hollywood Boulevard to go look at the stars on the sidewalk, I passed like three places that said free IQ test.
Exactly.
They didn't say nothing about
Exactly.
religion, nothing about Dianetics. It was just, hey, come in for a free. I'm like, that's
Yeah.
y'all thing.
That's the thing. Come in for
Give
free.
you something free.
Yeah. Because they
That's
don't
y'all.
need it. And the thing is, that's the power of what they do because they don't need the money.
Right.
They're laced up with celebrities galore. So they look to harp on people and interestingly, a girl that I did know, she didn't go there through me, but I did know her and she was an artist and
Mm.
she got caught up in that big time.
Mm.
She couldn't leave.
Oh no.
Yeah, she was trapped there, bro.
Oh.
Yeah, she was trapped. So being real with you, it's a real situation.
Yeah. I think sometimes when people see it on TV, it sounds so crazy that
Yeah,
you kind of feel like maybe not. And so we were kind of talking about this before we got on. I like the way the conversation is going already, but the fact
yeah,
that like Hollywood is a multi-trillion-dollar machine,
yes, it
there
is.
are, and there are secrets behind every crack. But
Yeah,
guaranteed, they do everything in their power to keep those secrets well hidden so it don't mess with the money.
come
So,
on, Doc.
so when we hear about a secret, you can
Yeah,
almost guarantee there's some truth to it.
you better believe it because by the time it get to us, I think you said it earlier. By the time it get to us, it's already been circulating amongst themselves for years.
Absolutely.
And then somebody got done wrong, or something slipped, or somebody didn't follow protocol,
Yeah.
and it hits the audience now, and social media spreads it like hotcakes, man.
Right. And then we sit back because we're like, oh, we hear about, could my favorite singer actually do that to
Yeah,
some 13-year-old girl? Could my favorite actor be in some relationship with another act? Is that real? And you and I hate to tell you.
it happens. Man, me and my wife was at Whole Foods yesterday,
Yeah.
and she said there's a lady. I got to figure out her page, but it's a lady that dissects lyrics, and
Hmm.
it was a song. Who was it by, man? I don't want to throw names out there without me knowing for sure it was,
Yeah.
but it was a song we all know and love, even the lyrics. And what that song was talking about was pure rape,
Wow.
raping this girl, and we sing it all the time. I mean, if she could text me, if she texts me, if she's watching me now, I will put it out there.
Yeah.
But I don't know the name of it right now. But it was crazy, man. A lot of the stuff we listened to and heard, bro, they was doing some stuff, Doc.
It's sad, and people always ask me like, Cause I point out that a lot in songs, like, yo, did he say that? Or did she say that? And I'm more because I listen to everything with rapper ears. So mine's is
Yep.
just always like this constant analysis of lyric writing. So that's just how my ears are tuned into music. But
Yep.
because of that, I pick up on a lot of things and I'm like, maybe because it's just bad writing, or maybe because it don't make sense, or whatever the case is. Like I remember I used to hate being in the club and that song by Nicki Minaj, and she was like, "Bust it open in the island of Waikiki," and I was like, "Oh, Waikiki? There's a beach called Waikiki. Island is Oahu. There's no island called Waikiki."
Right.
So it always
Right.
stands out to me. But it's funny that you say people are singing this song and it's about rape and they don't know, because most of the people are like, I don't even, why you even listen to all that? I don't even care about what they're saying. They
Yeah.
just like the feel. They just like the beat. They like the groove of it. And it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I got to know what you're talking about.
Man, I'm gonna tell you, man, I'm guilty of it because we were raised on music, melody,
Yeah.
cadence,
Mm,
voice tones,
yeah.
lyrical structure. Man, like, and that stuff is catchy. I listen to it from an art perspective, and I always have.
Mm,
But the power in those lyrics, man, the power of music, period. You could have a down day, and there's certain songs you can listen to that will immediately lift your spirits.
yeah.
If you're in a headspace where you want to do something bad, you're not going to listen to no Christmas music.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're going to the gutter where you know it's going to encourage you and influence you to
Yeah.
go and do the job.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
There are artists out there that are very great at making those kind of songs.
That's right.
I'm guilty of that. Like, I've gotten better because now I teach lyrical structure and now I'm on the other side of it. So
Mm,
now I have an opportunity to change some lives
of
by
course.
doing music therapy. The name of my foundation is called Music for Your Mental Health.
Mm, I
And
like that.
that's the website,
Mm,
musicforyourmental.org. You guys can go in there and check it out.
I
But
love it.
we are impacting lives. We're going into schools and we are training lyrical analysis, music production, and the power of sound.
Mm,
And it's been really impactful, man. So I'm grateful to say I'm on the other side of it. But every now and then, I do listen to the old music that was like, the stuff we used to love. Like, it's just a part of our history.
yeah.
It's a part of that, man. So yeah, thank you. So
Oh,
music for you,
sorry. .org.
yeah, .org. Yeah, thank you for that.
I got you. I got you. Musicforyourmental.org. What made you think of teaching music and then connecting it with mental health?
My little bro, Jaden Vincent, um, would come by the studio a lot, and I would mentor him in music. He had a music group or whatever, and so after about several years, he came by and we started talking about how do we merge both worlds, music and therapy, because we realized, man, there's a lot going on in people's heads, man. They have the whole lives and worlds that
Hmm.
people don't understand, and they think they're crazy. You're not crazy. You just need some structure. You need
Yeah.
someone that will listen to you, allow you to get your thoughts out. So over maybe about 7 years ago, we
Hmm.
sat in my studio in Hollywood and we started talking about it. We're like, we need a therapist. We need someone that could come in and he had a friend named Stephen McBride. And Stephen McBride is a family therapist. He's on top of his game. He knows his stuff really well. We brought him in and we had a music therapy conversation for hours. And we decided, you know what? Let's put both worlds together and go make some impact. For 5 years, we just we kept building. Now
Yeah.
we have a full-fledged team.
Wow.
Steve McBride, Jay Vincent, Alicia, and she's an artist, an amazing
Hmm.
artist. Alicia, we got Sean McBride, that's Stevie's brother, and then we got another Sean, and we call him S. Dot. And so it's six of us. If you go on the website, you go down to teams, you see the whole team. They all look like us.
I love it.
because
I love
it's
it.
a stigma that if you go to counseling, you're crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Sometimes you're not 5150. A lot
That's
of
a
times
fact.
you just got a lot of thoughts that you can't navigate through. And
That's a
music has been therapy for me,
mm,
for all my buddies, everybody that I know. Everybody has a playlist. Everybody has music that they listen to that makes them feel um, good, makes them have great weekends, make families come together. That's what made it. That's what made us really do this, man. And we've been getting, I mean, amazing response, bro. We literally just became a part of Department of Mental Health
wow.
after a year. So we've been doing this over 7 years now. We just literally got a doing a partnership with LA Department of Mental Health, man.
Yeah.
And they're in our corner, man. Thank you.
That's incredible. That's incredible, bro.
Thank you, bro.
Wow. Wow.
So
Blessings to that. Yeah.
that's where it is. The career, and I say this, and I'll drop this, and we can continue. But it's very important to not despise small beginnings. Don't despise
Mm,
small beginnings.
yeah.
Small beginnings is different for everyone.
True.
You can start a project, and you may not be getting traction. Continue, finish it. Start another one. Continue, finish. Start
Yeah.
another one. After a while, your foundation will be so strong. So when you start getting those opportunities and meeting people, you'll be strong enough to handle what's coming.
Mm.
So the stuff that I'm seeing now are the fruits and the seeds that have grown over the years. I'll be 51 in January, bro.
Don't look at
I'll
it
be,
all.
I appreciate it, man.
Don't look
But
at
I've
it
been
all,
at
man.
this a long time. And
Yeah.
I'm grateful to God, man. I just stayed the course. I never gave up. And I want to tell any and everybody, man, don't give up. Like, keep doing it because everything about my life has been about longevity.
Mm.
I just 26 years of my marriage. It's been amazing. There's blessings on the other side when you stick in your marriage.
This is true. This
And
is
26 years, man, I'm able to see some beautiful things like, wow, that's why the enemy didn't want me to get there.
mm.
He don't want you standing nothing long enough to where you see the blessing, bro.
Yes, yes. Talk
Because
about it.
when you see the blessing,
Yeah.
that's when the veil comes off. And you're like, wow, this is why I stuck in there.
Mm.
So it's longevity for me, man. It's
You
about
talk
sticking in the race.
you talking. I hope they listening. You talking to them right now.
Come on, man.
That's a fact, man. That's kind of been a common theme from almost every walk of life that I've talked to on this show. Whether I was talking to a doctor, a teacher, a martial artist, a musician, consistency.
Come on, man.
Finding that thing that really speaks to you and being consistent with it. And what I'll add is sometimes you got to recognize that you might just be in the wrong vehicle for that thing. So like let's say you have this desire for music and you're trying to be, I don't know, you're trying to be a DJ, and for
Yep.
whatever reason, you just can't get it, and you,
Yep.
you quit after a year, and then you pick up a violin and you playing a violin. You try that for 6 months, you feel like you sound terrible, and you quit
Yep.
that. You might think that you're quitting, but you're not.
Yep.
Like
Yep.
you're still harnessing the same fire. You just have to keep finding the right outlet until you get in your vehicle. And when you get in it, you gonna know. And guaranteed, exactly like what you're saying. When you get in that vehicle, you will know exactly why you got in all the other wrong ones. That six
Come
months of
on.
violin will be right there. That 1 year trying to be a DJ will be right there. And next thing you know, you're even better at the thing
Come
that you
on,
finally
man.
found you can do.
See, that's facts. That's facts. And it goes along with when I started playing piano in college. Just by ear, bro. I don't read music,
Wow.
sheet music, none. I just self-taught. And I
Wow.
remember when I first started, I had this little bitty keyboard, like a Casio, and I would play these three chords over and over and over and over for years. Now I could not get the flow of piano. How do you use both hands? I
Yeah.
just kept I just kept tinkering away. I kept tinkering away. And then I found like, wow, I added a couple more chords. And then it became a little more. Then I would watch a couple of videos and see stuff, but it was mainly because I just sat there. I would cry playing. Now this is between you and I. I would cry playing the piano because I could not get it. I kept pushing. I
Wow.
never put it down. I kept pushing. I
Yeah.
tried to pick up a guitar. I started playing guitar and it just went away. I was like, let me stick back to piano. Now, a huge part of my development, right?
Yeah.
A huge part of my development is playing piano.
Mm.
When I'm teaching kids, I'm able to pick up any song by ear, play it, and help them developmentally and get them to where they need to go. Had I stopped
Yep.
over 30 years ago, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now, man. And I'm so grateful looking back, saying, golly, that's a thank you, God,
Yeah.
and a thank you to what the drive that's in me. Like, he put that drive in me. And I'm like, thank you. Because it just kept with it, man.
It's beautiful, man. I
We live
love
in
it.
a microwave world, but we don't have to use microwaves all the time in our
You
life.
don't have
We
to.
don't do it. We don't have to do it.
Because no matter what, when the microwave meals, you can eat hot pockets, they cool, but you ain't gonna eat
Right.
them that long.
Nah.
Eventually, you're like, okay, I need to get a real meal.
That's
That
right.
come talk to us.
That's it. Come talk to us. All y'all out there, here's a public service announcement.
Yeah,
All y'all out there making grilled cheese in the microwave, get
yeah.
out of here, bro. You know that bread is rubbery. You know it gets hard after 30 seconds.
You
Stop it.
already know. Stop.
Turn that stove on and put that bread on there, butter both sides.
Do
Have a
it
good grilled cheese.
time. Take your time. Your time. Okay, so I love this. So I think that's kind of the direction that I was feeling we might go with music is like kind of getting to the creation of it because there's somebody listening right now that either is just very young and wanting to know how to get into this. There might be somebody that is a little older and maybe they're still trying to find their vehicle. They're trying to
Yeah.
figure out what maybe this songwriting thing is something that I want to do. I always have these ideas of song topics, but I could never really construct it. So before we, I guess, kind of walk people through the process of writing a song, just so they can respect where we're coming from, can you talk
Yeah.
about you as a songwriter, who you've worked with, and kind of your background there?
If you would have to go on if you go on my website, haskeljackson.com,
Hmm.
there's a list of people that I still got to add to. At the bottom of, if you keep scrolling down at the bottom, you'll see people I work with, from Kanye West to Shaka Khan to Smokey Norfolk, Donnie McClurkin, um, Raven Simone. Um, Sheesh, man, it's there are a lot of people I'm grateful. It's not braggadocious, but I work with a lot of people in the industry,
Wow.
and it's still growing.
Yeah.
My I think I was writing a lot before when I was in the group, and I got out of the group and I started singing and writing for myself, and I was able to learn the craft of writing, and it had to do with what I liked.
Hmm.
It was really rarely did I write so that other people can like it.
Yeah.
I wrote it from my perspective, and if I liked it, I felt like I got a pretty good ear. Somebody else gonna like it,
Yeah. I'm
and
gonna go
that's
with
kind
that.
of that was my approach.
Yeah.
Um, there were
Yeah.
some songs that I wrote, and I
Hmm.
listened back at it, and it was trash. Well, be honest, I listened back a couple days later, and I was like, "Dang, I was really feeling that when I wrote that." But listening back, that wasn't it.
It ain't it. It ain't
But
it.
that's the craziness of creativity because you feel like in that moment, you like, yo, this is a number one.
I
No,
got
it's
one.
I got one.
Call the bank. I got one.
Automatic. So you go through that too. And
Right. Right.
It's totally fine. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
um, I
So
did learn a lot when it like midway through my career, I got a call from a really good friend of mine, and she was in education, and
mm,
she was like, Haskell, Kanye West and his mother are looking for someone to run the Kanye West Foundation, and
mm,
I was like, working with kids. She's like, yeah. I was like, nah, I'm not interested. And she's like, all right. I hung up. She called back. She was like, Haskell, you should consider it. Like, you're really good at what you do. Why don't you take what you do and, turn it over, give it back to kids? And I was like,
yeah.
no, I had a patience. I don't know if I want to do that. Hung up the phone. No lie, Cash. She called me back a third time. She said, God said
Mm,
it's for you.
mm.
I was like, oh, wow, really? She
Why?
said,
Why you
yeah.
gotta go there? Why you gotta go?
Why you got to put God in this? So I said, I'll consider it. She gave me the information. I called over, talked to uh, Kanye's auntie, Beverly, and she said, she gave me the instructions on where to come to do the interview. I went over to the middle school, did an interview. It was a round table, like 4 or 5 people interviewing me about my career in music.
Yeah.
And I felt the interview went well. I was like, wow, this is pretty dope. I left. They called me a couple days later. They said, we want you to come to school, maybe 16 kids in the classroom, 2 classes, and we want you to demonstrate how you produce music. And I was like, wow. She said, bring a lesson plan and what you're going to do in front of these kids. I was like, what? I didn't know what to do, bro. Honestly, I was shaking in my boots. I'm like, yo, this is crazy. I stayed up all night. I broke my equipment down. I had an MPC. I had a keyboard, a controller. I had some speakers and a little mixer, little small setup. Packed it up, got up in the morning, went over to school. When I got there, I set up my stuff right in front of the class. The kids started coming in the room. So these middle school kids are some of the meanest kids on the planet. They're looking at me like, who is this dude? And I'm sitting there like, man, I gotta do this. This is crazy, bro. So they introduced me. I started plugging in my stuff. And as I was plugging and making sure I had sound, I started this beat. And I did this beat like in 2, 3 minutes. And it was rocking like a 4 bar loop, real simple. And I started freestyling, just kind of having fun with the class.
Yeah.
Boom, yeah, 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 whatever. I pushed stop, bro. The class erupted.
Whoa.
They jumped up and it was like, yo, we want to be in his class. And I was like, I'm not even a teacher yet.
That's fire.
So it was fire,
Uh,
bro. It did something in my spirit. So
mm,
then after that class, another class said I did the same thing. They erupted. There was a lady sitting in the back of the class.
yeah.
And she was sitting there and do you know who I am? I was like, I'm sorry, you look familiar, but I'm sorry, I don't know. She's like, I'm Donda. I was
Mm,
like, you're Donda West? She was like, yeah. I said, oh my God. I said, God bless you for one. It's such a pleasure to meet you. And
yeah.
it's an honor. Thank you for having me. And she was like, I like what you did. And I think Kanye would really love what you did. And I
Mm,
was like, she said, we got several more interviews. She said, I'm not saying nothing, but I'm just saying you did a really good interview. It's like,
yeah.
thank you. She called me back 3 days later and she was like, we like you. We want to hire you. What do you charge? What is your availability? Are you interested? I
Wow.
said, let me call
Wow.
you right back. I never make decisions on the spot. I said, just give me a minute to soak this in,
Yeah.
see if
Yeah.
this
You
really
sit with
what I
it.
want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hung up. I got with my wife. We prayed about it. We talked about it. And I
Beautiful.
said, I'm going to do it. I called her back. She hired me. For 6 years, I
Whew.
ran, I ran the Kanye West Foundation.
Whoa.
Wasn't expected.
Yeah. Yeah.
It wasn't something I planned. It wasn't something I wrote down in my daily book. Like, It was something that God presented,
Mm-hmm.
and I was just open enough to allow that to happen. And my wife had a lot to do with it too. She was like, try something new, Haskell. Like, you've been doing production so long. You're like, maybe it is time for you to give back and do something different.
Yeah.
And man, I'm telling you, it was one of the biggest blessings in my life to work with children. And and I feel like she gave me a torch
Hmm.
because she passed away before
Yeah.
we fully launched the program. I
Wow.
was with her the day before she passed.
Oh.
I was with her. So, and
Oh.
I feel like she passed that torch to me, bro. And I took that torch, and from that day, it's
Wow.
been an honor when
Yeah.
I think about her legacy, and even Kanye, man. People say a lot of stuff, and he has his things, but at
Hmm.
the end of the day, he has a heart to give back and for kids and stuff.
Yeah.
And I experienced that personally. And I saw his love for children, and I saw his mother's love for kids. And
Hmm.
that's why I'm doing what I'm doing now because of that opportunity.
Yeah.
And that opened up so many doors to
I can
do what I'm
imagine.
doing.
I can imagine.
Bro, from here to Chicago,
Yeah.
all the schools and the kids that I've worked with doing live concerts, and bro, it's been like, I'm telling you, man, it's just a chapter in the book.
Rest in power, Donda West. Wow.
Rest in power, man.
Wow. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. That was one. That was one of those. That was one. Okay, so now they know. All right, so now they got at least a sneak peek. The man has plenty of stories. You heard the list. He probably didn't even cover 10% of the list of people he's worked with. So you get it. Now we good. Everybody, we good. We straight. Cool.
Yes.
Cool. So, um, how for you? I want to hear what your step one is in approaching a new song. Are you inspired from the music that someone presents you? Are you inspired from music that's already completed? Are you inspired from a feeling, a moment, a sight, a smell? Where do you normally get your inspirations from?
Yeah, that it's a big question. I'll try to truncate it, but it a lot of times I've done so many sessions, man. I've done so many songs. It's kind of hard to put it in one thing because there are different seasons that I've been in as a writer.
Yeah.
If there was one time I was in a very judgmental spiritual season.
Hmm.
I was very judgmental. I went through the earthquake in Northridge is what
Okay.
shook my world. And from that day, that's when I gave my life to Christ fully.
Oh wow.
And I prayed, and God saved me.
That was like what,
And
20,
so that was in
93?
'94. That was in '94.
94. So it's around
Yeah,
30 years ago. Wow.
yeah. And I was in college.
Yeah.
And from there, me being saved and loving music, I started writing from that perspective. So I
Mm,
was in that headspace of I gotta get it people saved. I gotta give them to them raw. I gotta da 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 da. And then after a while, I became judgmental and I didn't realize it. And because I wanted everybody to be like me and to do what I felt, my filthy rags, goodness, righteousness. I felt like my filthy rags was the thing that everybody needed to have. And I had it twisted. I had it all wrong, man. God shook me. It's like you gotta have balance. Like, yeah, minister my word when there's opportunity. Never shy away when you have an opportunity to talk about me. Don't be ashamed of me. I won't be ashamed of you. All of those things. But I didn't have balance of love and accepting, not accepting the ways that people do things, but accepting that God knows them before I knew them. And I had to realize that, man, and it was tough. So I transitioned. So I went from writing like you going to hell and da, 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 that kind of stuff Boom. Adam sleeping with Steve and just bro.
He was going
I
at
used,
him.
I, used to, I used to go off on 5 percenters at college, bro, and the quad. I was one of those guys.
He was them. He was him.
It was toe to
He
toe. It
was
was
him.
like, so I had to transition. So, but I do know that other side.
Yeah. I
And
mean, there's a
I,
time for it. There's a time for both.
yeah, when I balanced out, then so the answer to your question in a kind of simpler form is it depended on what I was going through at that moment.
Mm,
I was in a moment where music was just gravitating for me, and beautiful chords and the way things were structured musically, just instrumental stuff.
yeah.
Then I would start with the instruments. I would start with piano or start with guitar or start with some type of drum line or whatever. And so I would be in that season for a while. And I could tell because a lot of my beats in different seasons, I know what I was going through. And I
Ah,
was like, I was going through something. I was really feeling bass lines. And
yeah.
a lot of my beats were like bass driven
Yeah.
or drum driven or piano driven or guitar or whatever. So it depended on what. Um, but I did try to go with what I was feeling at that time. And I realized something very important. And I tell my artists, I put my artists on music fast. And they're
Mm,
like, what is that? A music fast is when you ain't listening to nobody else's music but your own.
mm,
Because you could tell what you're listening to by the way you sound. I could tell who someone listened to, their message, their cadence, how what their approach is. I can already know you've been listening to Jay Z a lot because your
mm.
stuff sounds just like him. They be
Yeah.
like, bro, how you know? I'm like, I can hear it.
Yeah.
So I would say to start, go on a music fast, wash all that stuff out. Listen to some country, listen to some instrumental, listen to some movie soundtrack stuff, listen to
Mm.
something
Stuff
different.
outside of the genre that you're going to create.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because it'll help you stay true to what's really in you. I
Love
say
that.
start.
Yeah. I love that. Because it's easy for that to accidentally bleed its way into what you're doing. Like it infuses itself. It's funny you say that because, and we're talking about Kanye. I remember this guy who wanted me to do some show in New York or something like that, and he was like, "Send me some of your songs so I can send them to whoever was making the selections, a supervisor, whoever." And
Yeah.
before he sent them out, when he listened to him, he was like, "Man," he's like, "You're like super dope, but you feel like Kanye." And I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, no disrespect, but Kanye can't touch what I do. Are you kidding me? I love the guy, but he doesn't do what I do. And
Right.
but I had to be honest that like, well, I guess I have been listening to Kanye. I
Yeah.
didn't realize I never even thought of trying to sound like him or loving his sound. Like I've always loved Kanye as an artist. I've always loved his boldness as an artist, and I've always loved his product. But I've never like been like, oh yeah, I want to kind of like what I started with. Sugar for breakfast and sugar for dessert. Like I've never been chummy like that. I've never been this chummy rapper, and so
Right.
so I didn't understand it. But exactly what you're saying, it made its way,
Yeah,
and you
man.
can hear it.
Because it's in your subconscious.
Yep.
Your subconscious hides things. It does. It's not going to immediately expose it. So it's very powerful when you're listening to something. You may not even be paying attention to it. It's going right to your subconscious. The minute you check out of your frontal lobe,
Yeah.
guess what kicks in? Your subconscious.
Mm.
It kicks in and it takes over your brain waves. And then you find yourself like, wow, I sound like this, or I don't feel balanced. I feel like because that subconscious has stored all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And we end up doing things out from that perspective, opposed to always keeping it fresh,
Yeah.
keeping it new, and keeping it like from a fasted mindset, you know. And that's super important to stay
Yeah.
unique,
Yeah.
unique of who you are.
That's huge. Side note, I gotta just say this. You, okay, one of my best friends from high school. He is currently Lady Gaga's lead choreographer. His name is
Wow.
Richard Jackson.
Are you serious?
I'm sitting here looking at you, and I'm like, man, he reminds me of Richard. Like the tone of your voice, your mannerisms when you're talking. I'm like, this is so. And then I'm thinking like, and their last names are Jackson. Like, I don't know. Sorry,
That's
this is side
crazy.
note. I had to get it out. Uh, had to get it out. Um,
Oh, man.
but I like that. So we're back to authenticity. So I've heard, and maybe other people have heard that when you want to make a hit song, when you're trying to be on the radio, there's a science to it, right?
Yeah,
There's a formula to that.
yeah,
And so that way of thinking is more like take it all in. Take
yeah,
in what's on the radio so that you can breathe that back out. What is your opinion on that? So if you are working on one thing
yeah.
or the other.
I think that's the business side.
Mm,
It's not the authentic side.
yeah.
There's a business. You got to survive in business. So you end up doing things that are not as authentic to you or who you want to be. And you end up doing things for the sake of what you feel like people are listening to.
Yeah.
I get that. I understand that. I don't even frown upon it because if you look back and we go back to the Motown days, when there was a season of that type of sound, whatever it was,
Hmm.
how many people start doing that type of music?
Yeah.
They were all doing that same. A lot of times they do the same bass lines,
True. That's
same
a
drum
fact.
move. It's the same thing, and then they evolved. The ones that evolved, they got hated on, and they
Mm,
were like, "Oh man, y'all trying to do something different. Everybody gonna like that because you're getting out of the box." But everybody has gone through that,
that's true.
so
Yeah.
it happens.
Yeah. But it still follows suit, I guess, to what your overarching point is that if you're going to do something that's authentic to you and you're beginning this process of finding yourself as a songwriter, you need to get that out. Now, if you're trying to make something that emulates someone else,
Yeah.
then the reverse be true.
Well, here's the thing. I tell them this. I'm like, listen, if you feel like the way for you to break, then why don't you make two boxes?
Hmm.
One commercial, the other authentic. Put
Mm,
the commercial stuff out, get a little attention or whatever,
yeah,
and every now and then drop in that authenticity
yeah,
and they like that as well. Same thing with Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga used to wear meat suits to the Grammys. I mean, just out of the
she did
box.
that. She did that. She did that.
As soon as she made it, she began to evolve.
All right.
And then she became the person who she really wanted to be seen. But
Yeah.
she put on that, it's sort of a clown show. If you want to do the clown show, go do the clown show. I'm not trying to pocket check you, but it's something's gonna come with that. Just realize something's gonna come with that.
Yeah.
And a lot of people have done it. I mean, they do the clown show and then they come back to their authentic self. Um, what's her name? Did the same thing. What's it, Pink? Pink.
Oh,
They
Pink.
tried to
Yeah,
they tried to make Pink a pop artist, like a little Disney type,
yeah, yeah.
stuff. And she got enraged and was like, I don't want to do that no more. And she changed her whole look and sound.
Whole thing. Yeah.
So,
But
you know,
it's funny how it does stick with you. It's like if you do go that direction, like Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga hasn't done anything crazy extravagant in years, but she's
yeah,
still known as the meat suit girl. It's like
exactly. Exactly.
so you better own it because it is you now,
It's gonna come back. It's gonna come back to you. You're right.
right?
You're
Hands
right.
down. Um, I like that. So speaking of like an authentic voice, I saw that you worked with her. Now,
Yeah.
did you work with her? And I'm bringing her up because we as the consumers look at her as a very authentic,
Yeah.
original. She's an artist. She
Yeah.
she has her own thing that goes on. And so, in I guess in the idea of authenticity, did you work with her in any creative space?
So interestingly, with that, I had one of my artists that had an opportunity to do a BET special. I think it was a BET. I don't know if it was the BET Awards,
Hmm.
and she said they needed to do some backgrounds for the live show for her. And I was
Wow.
like, absolutely, let's make it happen. So it was four background singers came to the studio, and I actually produced the backgrounds and the foundation track that they used for the BET Awards.
Got you.
Yeah,
Got
so I didn't get a chance to work with her personally, but
Yeah.
I had a chance to be a part of that was presented.
So now let's use her as kind of like our little model right now, all right?
Yeah,
So everybody listening, we're gonna take you all into the studio, right? We got to be flies on the wall, and we are
right.
now sitting down in the presence of Haskel Jackson and her, and they are about to devise what their next song is going to be. So you, as the songwriter, possibly producer, unless you're working with another producer, let's just say you're doing it all right now. What is kind of like the first thing you do when you're talking to this artist? Her.
Okay, so if I had a session with her, I would automatically understand. For one, I would do my research.
Hmm.
I would do deep research on this artist. Second, I would work on getting out of the way. What I mean by that is artists have an idea of what they want already. Sometimes they hit a ceiling where a producer can come along, help them get over that hump, or take over and lead them the rest of the way.
Mm,
Learned that throughout my producing days because I felt like because I'm a producer, I gotta have all the answers, I gotta know everything, I gotta
yeah.
like be able to go in and put it down or whatever. And that's not the case. Some of
Mm,
the smartest producers are the ones that get out of the way until it's time to propel and push that thing that has been created to the next level of perfection.
yeah.
And that comes at different levels. If she came to me and she said, "Now, Haskell, we got this thing. I'm lost,"
Yeah.
then I've already done my research. I'm like, I already have a template for us. Let's jump in because I'm gonna have like 5 or 6 bangers ready to where when she say, "Do you have anything?"
Ah.
Oh, of course.
Right.
Boom. I'm gonna be
Stay
ready for
ready.
you.
I like it.
But I'm not gonna
I like
force
it.
it. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna force it on her because obviously she has her own ideas.
Wow. I
So
like it.
a great producer can hear, can discern, and to know when it's time to step in. And I'll give a shout out to my boy DOA, Derek
Okay.
Allen, man, bass player out of Sacramento, producer out of Sacramento.
Let's
He
go, Sack
produced
Down.
he produced "I Need You Now" for Smokey Norfolk,
Dope.
one of my best friends, man. I was in a session and I was young, and he really was one of the ones that got me into the game like that, like as a writer and producer, thinking that way. He really took me under his wing, and
Yeah.
shout out to him, love him to death, man. Um, I was in a session, and there was some musicians in there, and
Mm,
so I'm young. I'm thinking I'm there like, yeah, they gonna come to me. They need my ideas, and I
yeah.
had that bravado. I had that ego on me. I didn't know I did. So the guy was playing. He's playing bass or something. I kept stopping him, and I was like, "Yo, try it this way."
Mm,
Da-da-da-da. Playing on the piano, and I kept doing that. And my boy was like, "Yo, ass, let me talk to you, man." And he said, "Bro, don't do that." He
mm.
said, "Everybody got ideas. Don't snuff out the creative moment so that you can have an opportunity to tell your side."
That's a fact. Oh
Bro, I
my
said
goodness, that's a fact.
he chopped me in half. I
That
didn't
is
say
so
I didn't
true.
say nothing for the rest of the session. I just sat back. The air was out of me, bro.
Yeah.
It was one of the most important things he's ever told me.
Mm,
And from that point, my sessions have been what they need to be, not what I force them to be. So, yeah,
that,
man.
that's funny. I was just talking to another songwriter producer just yesterday, I believe, and he was. It's so funny how the way this conversation started. He was like, "Yo, Cash, are you tone deaf?"
What?
I'm like, with the puzzle look, like, man, what did I do to make that be the
Right.
beginning of this conversation? And he was like, no, I was like, it's just something I hadn't asked you. And I remember when it came up a while back because you had let me hear some song and you were like feeling this girl, and I was thinking, she's not that great. Like maybe he just doesn't hear it. And I try to be, very introspective when, someone kind of throws an accusation like that at me. And so I was like, I don't believe I'm tone deaf because I'm pretty sensitive when someone's off. But I said, but you know what? I do believe that when I'm in the studio with someone, I think that um, my openness to someone else's um, creative process or creative product, I
Yeah.
think that I might doubt my own ear trying to trust them because the song that he was talking about, the girl she's white and Hawaiian. She normally sings folk songs and she plays the ukulele. So as you know, as you cross genres, they're the tone that they try to achieve in different music is different. It don't sound the same when you listen to polka singing and
Yeah.
then you listen to R&B or so, like it's different. And
Yeah.
so in the studio, when I'm listening to someone sing and I'm sitting there listening, like, well, it doesn't sound like what I wrote. Like when I wrote it, what I heard, that's not what you're doing. But
Right.
you're locked in. Like you're like, oh no, I gotta let me redo this part. Let me redo that. And to you, I get out the way because I'm like,
Yeah.
maybe I'm the one that's missing it. And
Yeah.
the example I brought up was Nelly Furtado. Like Nelly Furtado doesn't sound like this incredible singer to me,
Right.
but she's
Right.
sold millions of records. So it's
He's a
like,
record.
so my ear isn't always the perfect, uh, critique, right?
Gauge. Yeah.
And so do you ever feel like that, like, or let me ask a different way. Have you ever been in that situation though, where you getting out the way and letting someone else go? Somehow later on, you were like, man, I probably should have. I probably should have done more because the final product does still represent me, and eh,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
yeah.
I've done that, and the times that I've done it, I've been exhausted. I've been
Mm,
like just tired or overworking, and hadn't given myself a time to just kind of clear.
yeah.
And so I have been like, just go ahead and do it again. All right, that's perfect. Do it again. That over time. Ah, great. Do it again. And then I listen back. I was like, this is not good, man. I've done that. I've done
It's
that,
funny
bro.
you say that too, because that was another example I said. I was like, sometimes it is tough when you're like looking for a singer or you're looking for, somebody, a bass player, whatever, and now it's been like 2, 3 months trying to find the perfect person. And as an artist, you're ready to move on. Like
Yeah, yeah.
I recorded this like 3 months ago. Like I'm ready to move on. And so now that you're back in another session with this song, you'd be like, okay,
You're over it.
okay,
Yeah, yeah.
I'll
You
take
right, man? I take it. Good job.
it. Right.
Like,
Okay, so we kind of talked a little bit about your process. What inspires you. We kind of get an understanding of you working with another artist. Um, can you tell me an artist that you've worked with that you kind of observed and appreciated their process, and maybe it even did something for you and your process going forward just from watching how they created.
Yeah, man. Um, Gosh, there's so many. I will let me go back to, and not for the sake of his name or anything, but I will say I learned a lot about Kanye when we were working on the song. Um, and it's called Another You. If you look it up, it's called Another You. It's Tony Williams' project, which is one of my dearest best friends. It's kind of his cousin. And
Hmm.
so we went and we recorded the song in my house. Um, and man, during that process, we
Hold on, hold
had
on. Is something in front of your mic?
nope.
Oh, okay.
Is it?
For a second, it got like a little muffled, but it's clearer now.
Oh, okay. Okay. Um, yeah. So that whole day we were spending time chilling, playing basketball, just kind of spending time, and
Yeah.
then we decided to go come to my house and record the song "Another You."
Hmm.
So while we were there, spent maybe the majority, like a good hour or so, just kind of vibing or whatever. But we weren't really focused on doing the song. We was playing the music,
Yeah.
talking about other stuff. I didn't realize Kanye was writing all day in his head.
What?
Bro, he was processing. He was processing way before we got to the studio. So by the time we started, we were in there. He had his stuff out. He's multitasking like crazy, bro. And I'm like, wow, I don't know how we gonna start this. And when he was ready, he said, "Let's go." And I was like, "You ready to record?" He's like, "Let's go." I pushed record, bro. This dude went off.
Wow.
Like, bro, and that ain't on no fan base. That ain't on no fan stuff. That's
Wow.
from creative to creative. That dude went off. And I was like, yo,
Wow, that's
he the
crazy.
truth. He the truth, bro. And
That's crazy.
he finished, he did the whole thing. And at the end of it, I was just like, wow, I'm recording him. I was the one like, okay, do it again, back up, da 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 da, for hours, bro,
Yeah.
constant. We didn't stop. So I'm glad I was rested and prepared for it
Right.
because I
Right.
didn't expect. But I'm telling you right now, bro, it was a real experience.
Yeah.
And from that day on, I was like, wow, man, who really gets an opportunity to work with a person like that and
Yeah.
to see what really goes in to their process?
Yeah.
Much
Absolutely.
respect. And I've had many. I've worked with Shaka Khan and saw her process, and everybody's different, man. Everybody got their own things. I've worked with a lot of major stars that are insecure.
Ah.
They get in the studio and they kind of and they need you to help them come out of that shell, and
Wow.
the world knows them.
Wow.
I won't say no names, but the
Yeah.
world knows them, and they are like, you would never know, bro.
Dude, that's funny you
You
say that because I remember I performed, I opened up for India Ari at CSUN, Northridge. And I remember being backstage.
my college, bro. That's my college. But
Oh,
anyway,
yeah? Shout out, shout out. That's my wife's college.
nice.
I remember she came back to meet, the other people that were involved in the show and kind of helping and working and, all the crew basically. And when she came in, she like she introduced herself, but she introduced herself in a way like you probably don't know me. Like,
Wow.
it was very like humble and like, oh,
Yeah.
like my not like, hey y'all, I'm India Ari. It was more like, my name's India Ari, and I have a couple of songs, and like she was just very like, I know you guys don't know me, just give me some time,
Yep.
give me some space. I promise I won't embarrass you. And it was like we're looking at each other like, what are you talking about?
What are you talking
What are
about?
you
Exactly.
talking about? So that makes sense. That rings true.
I had that experience on the Jamie Foxx show. I was on the Jamie Foxx show,
Mm,
and it was Mary J. Blige was on it, and Ron Isley.
mm,
And Mary J. was super quiet, bro. She was like, I was surprised.
Yeah.
She didn't talk much. She was kind of a little afraid to do her thing. She was the main person on the show. If you go and watch it, Jamie
Wow.
Foxx show with Ron Isley and Mary J. Blige,
Okay.
she's so humble and meek. You
Yeah.
wouldn't even realize that's hip hop Mary.
Right.
This is hip hop Mary. She
Like
didn't.
you expect her to be.
Yeah, you didn't see her doing that. She
Wow.
was so meek. She was sweet. She was really sweet, man. And but it, you never know who people are, who they
Yeah.
really are. Introverted,
Yeah.
individuals. A lot of times they come out when they need to, and then they go
Yeah.
back into
That's
enclosure. So
that's true.
yeah,
But I'm gonna tell you what's really cool about you talking about Kanye's process is like, I almost every songwriter, whether they be writing for themselves, trying to get on writing for others, or fully evolved writing with celebrities and they got Grammys and all of that. The
yeah,
stories always sound the same. They always sound like we started just hanging out that day.
yeah,
They always start from a place like
yeah.
at zero, like not like, hey, let's make a song, hey, let's work on this. It's like it just starts like let's hang out. They playing PlayStation, they walking
Yeah,
down going to get some chips, they talking about girls. Like it's just
yeah,
it always starts like that, and I think that's something for people to remember that most hits that you hear, they didn't begin with let's make a hit. They just began in like this organic, let's vibe, let's connect, and let's see what blossoms from this energy.
yeah. Happens all the time, and you'll learn like. And I think that understanding comes a lot from when you work with that caliber of people. You understand like they don't want that.
Mm,
They get that all the time. They have to always put on face. They gotta always be on point and make
yeah,
sure they're doing this right and that right. And it gets exhausting. So
yeah,
when you can just be a person, just who you are, will they like you just for who you are? Your personality,
yeah,
just talking about regular real life stuff, and
mm,
then eventually making something dynamic and then
yeah.
coming back to your real self. That's what they want. That's what they desire.
That's dope. That's
Yeah.
that is full circle in the songwriting process. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't heard it, let's do a quick recap. Because first we talked about you need to find the vehicle that is for you. That's all right.
Yep.
So let's just say that the vehicle that you find in your music loving creative process is songwriting. One of the first things that Haskell suggests is first do a music fast. Let's get rid of everybody else's tone, everybody else's voice, everybody else's creativity, so that you
Right.
can tap back into that frontal lobe and connect with what you want to do. Second,
That's
you
right.
got to be authentic to that space. You got to be authentic to the artist that you want to be. Releasing all of that will help you. And once you connect with it, wherever the inspiration comes, let the inspiration come. Let the inspiration feed you. Don't fight it. Put it out. Like Haskell said, you might put it out today and tomorrow you don't like it, but you got to go with it.
Yeah.
Let it
That's right.
flow. Energy goes where energy flows, right? And
That's right.
then, very lastly, you have to not approach it with an angle of I'm trying to create a hit. I'm trying to create. You have to be in a certain space to allow it to come to you. So
Yeah.
relax a little bit, talk, do your thing, laugh, put on a show,
Yeah.
let it find you. It may take you some hours. It may
Yeah.
take you 20 minutes, or you may be like a Kanye where it took you hours, but you've been taking it in all day.
That's right.
And by the time you get to the end of it, it's time to make magic.
You know when you're ready. That's right.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. Bro, I
Man.
I appreciate you, man.
Man, I appreciate you having me on your show, man. This was dope. It was a lot of fun, man.
Yeah,
A
this
lot of
was
fun.
thank you, man. Thank you. I would love for you to come back. I would love for you to, once we get off the air, and in the days to come, tell me how I can be a part in any way, helping with the
Yeah.
music for mental, music for
Bro,
the mental.org. That's beautiful.
Yo, let me tell you this. We're at a phase right now where we're setting up to where we'll be able to hire teachers, teaching
Mm,
artists, and we'll be able to send them out to different districts, right?
dope.
So, music for Department of Mental Health, they're over districts.
Yeah.
In each districts, there's like 5, 6 cities, if not more.
Hmm.
There are 8 of them. So they will be sending us to all 8 districts, and we can't do everything by ourselves. So we will be looking for teaching artists, people that want to go teach music, they want to teach production, they want to teach writing, they want to do poetry, they want to do these things and get
Love
into these classrooms and these homes and like different things like that. So I will put it out there and we will put notification when it's that time. But bro, absolutely, we will need your help.
it. Done.
We will need help and your community. Like if you know other writers and producers and artists that they've always wanted to teach, they just didn't know how to get in,
Yeah.
holler at me. There's some access here.
I love it. I love it. Each one teach one. We
Yeah,
that this was beautiful,
yeah.
man. This was beautiful. Haskell Jackson, thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I know you enjoyed him, but he has to go. He can't be here forever. You know, we might want
Yeah.
to keep him for a long time, but we can't keep him forever. My God, the way I send you off, I
All right,
will say pod is good. You say all the time. I'll say
all right.
all the time. You say pod is good. You got me?
Got you
All right, my God. Pod is good.
all the time.
And all the time.
Pod is good.
I
Let's
love
go.
it. My God, I appreciate you. Be blessed,
Appreciate you, brother.
kind sir. And I will talk
Yes.
to you soon, my G.
All right, man. God bless you.
All right,
Peace.
peace. Wow, ladies and gentlemen, that has been episode 58 of the Pod is Good podcast with Haskel Jackson. I hope that you were inspired, that you were motivated, that you got some gems in there to understand that maybe you're going through some of the same things that Kanye West goes through. Maybe you're going through some of the same things that India Ari goes through. Maybe you're going through some of the same emotions that Mary J. Blige feels when you feel like, man, I'm this small. How can I do this grand thing, this idea that's in my head, this feeling that's in my heart? We gave you the steps how to get there. Not only did we give you the steps, my man who's been with plenty of artists, go to HaskelJackson.com and see it. You'll see lines and lines of all the artists that he's worked with. And even he's saying it's the same across the board, whether it's the undiscovered talent that's just trying to get on, all the way to the celebrities that have sold multi-millions of copies of albums. The process does not change. The people do, the faces do, but the process is the process. Trust yours. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe, follow, like, do any of that. Share it. Watch it again. Write some notes. Begin your process. Jump in the comments and tell us what you did. Tell us what you took from Haskel, right? Also, tell us if you ever did a show at the Celebrity Center. That's a side note. With that being said, man, this is the Pod is Good podcast. I am Cashman, California, and I will holler at y'all on the next one. Peace out.